Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Have you ever noticed that you can recognize familiar childhood snacks or household items in an instant, while new complex words take you a split second longer to process? Why is it that some things stay with us forever, while others feel like they just landed in our brains yesterday? It all comes down to a concept called the age of acquisition, or AOA for short. It is basically the idea that how early in life we learn something changes how our brains handle it forever. For a long time, scientists have been trying to figure out why this happened. Is it just because we have practiced those early words a million times more than the new ones? Or is there something special about how our brains were developing back when we were little kids? Our brains were like sponges then, and this research paper looks at whether that early childhood period built a different kind of foundation for how we recognize things today. We are talking about compound words, which are basically two smaller words stuck together, like airplane or sunflower. These are perfect for studying because they have both a whole meaning and two hidden, smaller parts inside them. The researchers wanted to see if the age at which we learn these words affects our speed and accuracy. And since previous studies mostly looked at simple words, they decided to go big. They recruited 48 students and put them through a series of brain-teasing tasks. They used something called progressive demasking, which is a cool way of saying they showed a word behind the fuzzy. Scrambled mask that slowly cleared away. Think of it like trying to read a sign through a foggy window that slowly clears up. They also did a visual duration threshold task, which simply measures the shortest amount of time you need to look at an image before you can name it correctly. They tried this with regular unspaced words and words with spaces in them, like airplane, to see if forcing the brain to split the word up changed how it worked. And guess what? The results were pretty clear. Early acquired items, whether they were full compound words or individual parts, were identified much faster. It seems our brains are simply wired to reach for the things we learn first. They found that these early learned concepts act like the center of a spider web in our minds. They have more connections to everything else we know. This supports the idea that our language brain is developed through a lifetime of learning. The researchers found that even when they tried to control for things like how often a word is used or how easily we can picture it, the age of learning still stood strong as a major predictor. It is kind of like a head start in a race that you never actually lose. The most interesting part, I think, is that this effect shows up even when we look at objects. The researchers used pictures to test the same compound words and found that the AOA effect was not just for words. It happened at the very first moment our eyes perceive a shape. This suggests that the AOA effect might not be just about language, but about how our brains map out the visual world from the very beginning. This points to what scientists call an integrated account. It is not just about where the information is stored in the brain or just about how the connections are made. It is about how those two things work together over a lifetime. The older we get, the more our neural networks lose some of that early childhood flexibility. It is not that we cannot learn new things, but the brain has already built its main roads, and any new information has to fit into that existing structure. Now, this study does have some limitations. It focused mostly on concrete words which are easy to imagine. We are still not entirely sure how these effects would play out with abstract concepts like justice or freedom, which we usually learn much later in life. Also, the study used a specific group of students, so it would be fascinating to see if this holds up across different languages, or in people who learned a second language later. Still, the core message is really quite empowering. Our brains are built on a foundation of childhood experiences, and those early learning moments set the stage for how we interpret the world every single day. I love this research because it shows that our past is always present in how we think. It is not just about what we know, but how quickly we can access it. Understanding this helps us realize why learning a language or a new skill takes more effort as adults. It is not about us being less capable. It is about the architecture of our brain being deep and established. My take is that we should celebrate those early learning years, but also keep challenging our brain to build new connections. It might take a bit longer to process, but that is just part of the journey. What do you think? Have you found that words you learned in primary school just seem to pop into your mind faster than the new vocab you picked up last week? Let us know in the comments below, and do not forget to like and subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more deep dives into the science of the human mind. See you in the next one.